30 Days of BFDI, Day 1. I made this image, and over the next 30 days, I'm going to create a shot going over each category depending on what day it is. In this case, it's fairly obvious who my favorite character is if you know literally anything about me at all, and it's basketball. And honestly, I can't exactly even put it into words why I find her my favorite, but she's just always been really good in my eyes, and T-Bot has especially done so good for her, until it didn't, but we don't talk about that. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 2, and in this part I'm going to say who my least favourite character is. And out of everybody in the show, my least favourite is, yeah, it's Marker. This should not really come to a surprise for anybody who regularly watches me, but I will say he has been improving quite a bit for me recently. However, that is still not enough to get out of last place. I just don't really see any redeeming qualities to him that a lot of other people see, which is why he's my least favourite. It's not really like an analysis or anything. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 3. For this part, it's time for me to say my favourite season, and this time last year, I would have thought I'd be crazy for saying this, but my favourite season is BFDIA. And I used to absolutely shit on this season. Like, I swear, there was a point where I was watching the episodes like 2 days later because I just did not care. But recently, or like a year ago-ish, like the episodes started getting way better and there has not really been any misses for me for a while. But don't get me wrong, Teapot is great, however, I haven't been enjoying it as much as I used to. And BFB is also really good, or at least the first half. And as for BFDI, I'll talk about that next part, so subscribe. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 4. If you paid enough attention to my previous short, you might have realised that BFDI is my least favourite season. This should really go to post-split for obvious reasons, however, they're technically the same season, so pre-split carries post-split a lot. BFDI being the first season and pretty much only being made by the Hong twins themselves, it isn't really that much competition here. They had time to improve their writing and pretty much anything else. They even hired an entire team now, which is only growing over time. BFDI isn't bad, but I certainly care about it the least compared to every other season. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 5. Question is a bit more out of place than the other 4 so far, but I'll just add it in anyways. So my favourite asset is probably not one most of you would expect, Eggy. Yes, I'm weird. Yes, there is something wrong with me. Just forget about it. I just really like this asset and I don't even know why. It just looks appealing to me. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 6. Now, as for this one, I don't really hate any assets. I think all of them did a pretty good job, so this one is kind of hard to decide. But if I really had to say one, maybe like Blocky or Eraser. Out of like every single one, those two just like impress me the least since they're kind of simple. I'm not really counting any joke assets like Yellowface or David, for example, for this. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 7. We are officially a week into the series now. I'm not going to count any solo teams or BFDIA teams for obvious reasons. And now, as for the teams, there are only 2 teams that have no members I dislike on them, and those go to Irons and the strongest team on Earth. But out of which one I prefer of the 2, it has to go to the strongest team on Earth. Maybe because of bias? Yes, but do I care? Not at all. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 8. Unlike last time, I have a clear answer here, and honestly, just centering your entire team around one person who luckily got out first just isn't a good idea. The losers is the answer here, and I don't really have any competition. They got better once Loser left, but that isn't really saying much. They are still the worst team for me. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 9. Okay, I just need to say which character is most overhated before I can just go back and just, you know, never mind. Yeah, if I had to say someone who's overhated, I guess Eggy. I mean, I kind of do get why people might not like her, but the fact she's this hated is kind of undeserved to me. 30 days of BFDI, day 10, and now we're finally in the double digits. And also I am like genuinely tired this time, so if I sound like this, that's why. Anyways, now for which character I find the most underrated. Honestly, I think it's Robot Flower. I honestly think she deserves way more love than what she gets, and a bit more recognition. I really enjoyed her storyline in Teapot for when she was actually herself. 30 days of BFDI, day 11. Now I need to say someone who's overrated without just being mauled by this fandom. So who will I choose? Okay, literally no hate to this character because I do love her a lot, but I'm gonna have to say Fanny here. Like, she's good, but I don't think she should be second safe every single time. Well, neither does Price Tag, but Price Tag isn't really as loved as Fanny. Also, just to clarify, I do not find Fanny to be the most overrated BFDI character overall. She's just one I find overrated. 30 days of BFDI, day 12. Do I shit on BFB post-split? Yeah, definitely. I hate it, but like, BFB 29 is my favorite episode in the series, and I really don't get why I shit on post-split when this is an opinion that I have. I just really like the idea of this episode, and honestly, I'm kinda glad that writer bias was there in Flower's favor, if I'm being honest, because like, no, I would not want Gelatin to win this season, but that is nowhere near the main reason that why this episode is this high up on my list, just so you know. 30 days of BFDI, day 13, and I'm in a pretty good mood this time because I'm finally off school. Yeah! Worst BFDI episode, there are definitely a few I don't like, so I'll just say my least favorite from every season since I can't really find a specific answer, minus BFDI. BFDI 11 is by far the worst episode in BFDIA, and then as for IDFB, I'm not going to count that for obvious reasons. As for BFB, I guess I'll go for BFB 26, and then finally Teapot 8 for Teapot. 30 days of BFDI, day 14, and now we're finally 2 weeks into the series now. But as for my favourite duo, Pencil and Match, definitely. Ruby does have a lot of funny interactions with like any of the three smarters, but you can't really beat Pencil and Match here. I'm kind of upset they're not going to get much screen time given the circumstances right now, but I do hope to see more soon. 30 days of BFDI, day 15, we've officially reached the halfway point. And as for the funniest character in my opinion, this has to go to Ruby. Her character has since evolved into something less comedic since BFDIA, but as for BFDIA itself, like, she was hilarious and fantastic in that season. And she still has her funny moments now, just not to the same extent. If I had to give it to somebody right now, I guess Bottle. Ruby just peaks in my opinion. 30 days of BFDI, day 16. Now for who I think should win the season. I don't actually have a problem with any season except BFDI. I don't mind Fiery winning really, but I think Bubble should have won BFDI over Fiery, to be honest. 30 days of BFDI, day 17. I really enjoyed Bow Wars for the time when they were going on, and it is kinda hard for me to choose the best one since I found them all really entertaining. However, I guess my favourite one would be the Are You OK Boat War in Teapot 9, because like having the entire team be up is crazy to me, and it was insane. 30 days of BFDI, day 18. Now since I don't really want to bring up drama from 1.5 years ago, that is interesting. I don't really believe that time has gone past this quick. But I would just say that the worst of the war is Teapot 9 Boat War between Just Not and Just Move On. 30 days of BFDI, day 19. Now, I don't really like ships that much, I will admit, so this is kinda hard. But I guess if I had to say one, it has to be Fiery and X Leafy, because like it's kind of the closest to one. I guess 4 and X is also like an honorable mention here as well. 30 days of BFDI, day 20. We're now 2/3 of the way done. As for the worst ship, I'm only going to consider ones that actually make somewhat sense, like no, I'm not doing Ice Cube X Rocky or something like that. So I guess out of every single one I've seen, Basketball X Robot Flower is my least favourite ship. 30 days of BFDI, day 21. Now for which challenge I find the best, I think Teapot specifically has a bunch of good ones, but I guess my favourite challenge out of all of them is honestly Teapot 2's challenge. It was really simple that I enjoyed, and also allowed a lot of inter-team interactions that isn't really too over the top or fast paced like Teapot 12 for example. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 22. This is easily BFB 20. The entire point system and how everyone was just blinking and losing points just pissed me off so much. It's not even funny, and it just ruined the entire episode for me. And there's probably a bunch more challenges that applies to, but I don't really care. It's just that I hate BFB 20 specifically. But like, you could just summarize this entire challenge in like 5 seconds when Leafy just throws the ice bucket on X and then wins the challenge for her team.
What? That's all it took?
Basically sums up my entire reaction when I first watched the episode. And I think it's worth clarifying that by my explanations I've given, I think that the execution matters way more than the challenge itself, and it shows. But also, I just don't like the challenge idea either, just cooling down X. Like, bro, like, I do not want to hear X's screaming the entire challenge. Like, I pray for Carrie's vocal cords. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 23. As for my favourite moment in BFDI, it is kind of interesting because I never even liked these two at the time of BFB 22's release. But this has to go to the Fiery and Leafy makeup scene. I just really liked it, and I just really liked the music as well. And like, I used to rewatch the scene quite often for like the past 2 months after BFB 22's release. I like how the tension between them starts to calm as the scene goes on until the very end when they hug. And then Leafy just dies. Yeah. 30 days of... You know what, bro? This series has completely flooded my shorts tab, and I sincerely apologize for that. Anyways, the saddest moment of BFDI was basketball. No. What even is a basketball? 30 Days of BFDI, Day 25. I apologize for what happened in the last episode, and I will try to maintain a professional demeanor this time. As for best development, I have to say Fanny here, and it really shows how much her popularity changed because of it. In BFB, she was the last one safe in the first elimination, and then in T-Pop, she's consistently the second one safe. I love Flower a lot, but I don't really like how she was written in post-split, because she felt way too over the top nice by the end of it. I still see Fanny's pre-split self in her today, but also a new side of her that we didn't really get to see in pre-split. I hope we see more of her soon though, because she's not been in the spotlight for a while now. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 26. I have to go somewhere, so I'll make this short, and I'll just say that my favourite arc is Pencils and Teapot. However, this one is really divisive, just as many people hate her than like her in Teapot. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 27. There's no arc I really hate that much, so I'll just take the easy way out and just say that the match and bubble arc was over before it even started. I don't really get why they had Irons use that episode, because it was so obvious Match was gonna leave. Can't Irons just have not lost like the rest of the season to let this arc go on for a bit longer and not have it end the way it did? Because they had to end it. They basically were forced to end it the way they did, because it's been 7 years, so why would Bubble be mad? I guess the arc technically isn't over yet because the poet went in Teapot 18, but I don't care. Yes, the Teapot 18 scene was bad and that it was hyped for multiple episodes, and we ended up just getting this. I mean, it just kind of makes sense why they went this path, because it's been 7 years, so it doesn't really make too much sense for Bubble to be mad at this point. But I just wish that Match was still in the game, so we didn't have to come to this. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 28. I have two answers here, and it completely depends on who wins the next challenge, since I believe that BFDIA will have a 3-person finale. If Tennis Ball wins the next challenge, then I'm confident that he will win BFDIA, but if he loses, then I think he'll be eliminated in 4th place. And if Tennis Ball loses this challenge, the BFDIA 21 scene between Pin and Coiny kinda took away all doubts I had about Coiny winning, so I think Coiny will win BFDIA if Tennis Ball won't. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 29. Grassy was so close to being eliminated, but with the shit going on in Teapot 19, he's basically back to being the first save every single time, or at least that's what I think. Is there really any stopping Grassy at this point? Well, it depends on if he becomes irrelevant again, but that probably won't happen for at least quite a while. But regardless, I still think All 4's gonna win. 30 Days of BFDI, Day 40! Anyways, this is the moment this series has been hyping up for the entire time. The final day. And the final category is me saying who I think is the best recommended character. Yeah, literally nobody cares about the recommended characters. Except me! I've always been fascinated about recommended characters, even though I don't really talk about them. But I just like to imagine they all have lives outside of, like, whatever their singular pose for, like, most of them. If there's one thing you should know, it's that I love armless contestants so much. Like, I usually like them way more than contestants with arms. And since these guys don't have personalities, we don't know like a single thing about them, I'm going to have a lot of armless recommended characters that I love. This includes Rainbow Slinky from the hit episode Teapot 18, which is commonly referred to as the best Teapot episode of all time. Other Testy, I don't really know, this one just looks really cool. And there's also one I like that has arms. What? But yeah, Transmitter, like, look at that design. Anyways, thank you all for a good time of 30 days of BFDI, and I'll see you guys, you know what? I'm gonna post a video of the full compilation of this series, so please watch that because I haven't posted in 3 weeks. I need to fill the gaps somehow, right?